Hey everybody, my name is Letiredd, content creator over on Twitch. I mainly stream Star Citizen, but sometimes I dabble in other things. Today I'm doing another react, and we are going to be talking about Inside Star Citizen Alpha 4.0, playing with fire. Let's see what they have to say. I mean, I cover these every week. I typically try not to watch them beforehand, but this isn't the first time we've seen fire in the game, so I don't want to act or say that I'm not excited. It is exciting to see something new come into this game. However, I feel like my opinion on this video is going to be tainted slightly, and why is that? Well, PTU is pretty damn rough. Live did get better, but I think it's not so much the stability that's frustrating me right now with Star Citizen, it's the lack of true progress. And I feel like that's kind of unfair to say for the devs and the people who work on this project, but at the same time I'd like to remind people that they're not the ones necessarily responsible for how the entirety of a project is going. And I guess I would say I'm learning to channel my frustrations towards CIG's management of this project. So yeah, I'm a little frustrated with the game right now, so take what I have to say with a grain of salt, everyone. But let's jump into this react. Let's see what they have to say. As always, I do truly like Jared and his team. It is a lot of fun. They put on a good show. Let's try that again.
Last week, we explored some of the new adventures available to players in space in the upcoming Alpha 4.0. But there are even more dangers to be found within your spacecraft and vehicles. Fire is blazing a trail towards its awaited debut in the persistent universe. And while we don't want to burn any bridges with the resource management team, we'll jump out of the fire and into their frying pan in just a few weeks. Wow, I really bet their ears are burning. We're fired up to give the VFX arsenal.
I feel like it's going to be a lot of these little jokes and puns about fire. This may be a difficult one to get through.
The chance to set the world on fire this week, or at least just the interior of spaceships, because we don't want them to burn themselves out playing with fire. I'm out of idioms now. I'm gonna go see if I can add more fuel to the fire.
You know, that's funny because I feel like that may become an accurate depiction of a scene in Star Citizen revolving around fire and chaos in a ship. Three people just sitting there, one half dead, the other like, I'm fixing things, look at me. What's up, Gorgon? How you doing, buddy? All right, let's keep going.
In 4.0, we'll have fire inside of ships. For our initial rollout, we didn't really want players to start fires everywhere. The poor service, they really wouldn't be able to handle it, so we decided to focus on the interior of ships. They're smaller, more contained, and more controlled. Fire is tightly integrated with the resource network system and a great fit for a first release with
Holy crap. You guys just don't want me to watch this, do you? Caffeine with another 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much. We completed level 3 of that hype train.
in the spaceships where Resource Network will be focusing on as many ships as we can. Starting a fire is based on damage, and like different kinds of damage.
Fires can be caused by ship items when they hit 0 health. There are also ways for ship items to cause fires in the normal running and operation of them. We're currently looking at making it so that when they misfire and they have the highest level of wear, that there is a chance that they can also cause fires.
But other types of damage, like impacts.
That's kind of funky. It's a smoking stream because we're smoking. I need to watch The Mask again, by the way, if you didn't understand the reference. So you can set ships on fire by shooting in them. So I foresee everyone yelling at each other, "Don't shoot my ship! You're gonna set it on fire!" And that's going to be kind of an odd statement at first. Um, but that looks cool. That does look cool. I will give them that. It's fire. It's super fire.
from weapons or explosions, they could also ignite a fire. Another way to start a
That is terrifying and yet so cool at the same time because we've all jumped right into an 890 to do one of those missions and tossed a grenade. Imagine now of having to have the thought process of I could throw a grenade, but if I do that, I risk burning down the ship before I finish the contract. Now, on the other hand, do you think if the contract is just killing the enemies, you could just walk in there, throw it a couple grenades, get it to catch fire, and then just bounce and watch the whole thing burn itself down? Can use pistols to blow up ships. No, that's pretty crazy. Am I the only one thinking this can be insane in a good and bad way? We didn't start the fire. Well, the grenade did apparently, or the gun did. Anyways, we were indirectly responsible for that fire. Holy crap! Thank you so much for that gifted sub, Bite Size Hobbit. I appreciate you all so much. And now we've hit level 5. Thank you all. Thank you all. I really do truly appreciate it. It means so much. I am grateful. And again, a new all-time record shattered. Look at that. We're just killing things today. Just killing it. Level 5. Snake from Metal Gear SC. Just gonna be running through with a pistol and a knife. That's it. And a bandana. Do you think we'll get bandanas? Okay, important questions here. We asked the real important questions. Do you think we'll get bandanas in the verse? Because then we could be Metal Gear Space Snake. Ooh. That would be epic. It would be. It would be absolutely epic. But this is very cool yet absolutely frightening at the same time. And I feel like so many people are going to burn their ships down. No, it's going to be great. You're going to have people flying their ship and be like, "Where's that smoke coming from? Smell like burning to you?" Just flames going off behind them. It's some people are going to die in incredible ways. Need the high-tech eye patch too? Yes. Well, I have the monocle. Does the concierge monocle count? Could be like the classy snake, you know. It's been so long, sorry, hold on, need my monocle top hat, then I will be battle ready. Right? That'll be so freaking awesome. Okay, alright, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
fire is getting the environment hot enough to actually get your surfaces to auto-combust. For example, if you open up your door on a really, really hot planet and the hot air starts to flow into your ship, then if that air is hot enough, and some surfaces might start igniting from that.
Serious?
That's, I'm gonna say it, maybe too far. It's super freaking cool as an idea. Like, dude, you could just open it and the sun will burn your ship. Oh, it's so cool. Let's do it. No, where's the person standing behind going, all right, guys, is this really what we should do? Is it? I don't know. It seems kind of intense.
So yeah, I could open my door and my ship might catch fire?
You would need a room to reach, I think it's like 1,000 Kelvin for those materials to start to smoke.
So it's something that's technically possible, but it's not likely.
If the planet is warm enough, yes.
Is there a planet warm enough to do that right now?
Don't think so.
Okay, I just want to be sure.
Okay, thank you, Jared, for asking the important question. And yeah, Zombie, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. It really makes this, more worth it. Appreciate the support. Yeah, because just want to bring you guys better stuff, better content, and do better. Dedicate more time to making it better. All right, let's keep going. There's shit's on fire.
You're saying systemically it's possible.
Systemically it's possible, yeah.
Okay.
It's technically possible, but very unlikely.
Don't worry, everybody.
Part of the fire hazard system propagation is based on the fire triangle, which is oxygen, fuel, and temperature. Oxygen is tracked by the room system. The atmosphere, that is, most rooms in the universe have their atmosphere tracked, including oxygen. The fuels, they will be tracked on the surfaces, so every surface in the universe is marked up with a surface type. That surface type has different properties for fire propagation to work. The heat that is usually from a ignition source is the damage that could happen, but also if you have an object already on fire, that could start a fire again based on the heat that that fire is emitting. Fire will start small if you have a small ignition point, so it will not start blazing immediately, so it will start.
Yes, that's cool. And again, everyone, thank you for we just destroyed my all-time record on a hype train. And we got a new emote. It's a monkey doing something. Caffeine. They're so good at tracking atmosphere. We suffocate in a perfectly working station. That's true. It's true. You know, every little tiny piece of atmosphere is tracked, including the ones that apparently we die in, but in doorways. But oh, okay. So he said every room. He didn't say doorways tracked atmosphere. So that would explain why we keep dying or losing health as you're running from room to room. I think, you know, he didn't say doorways. I think that was the issue.
Propagating quite slowly, but if you leave it untended, then the fire will start growing, and the more it grows, the faster the propagation will happen. And
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do when I'm getting off of a buddy's ship. I'm gonna take out my arc light pistol. I'm gonna be like, yeah, thanks for the ride, bye. And I'm gonna shoot it 3 times and just wait for like a little tiny dot of fire to start. And then I'm gonna run away and close the door and be like, oh, sorry, my gun slipped. Whatever. My finger slipped on the trigger when my gun that was out of my holster for some reason. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. But they're gonna take off and they're gonna wonder why their ship's on fire. And and they probably won't notice it for a minute. They'll probably imagine if you're in quantum and all of a sudden your ship. Whoa, holy shit! What happens if your ship burns down while you're in quantum? There's gonna be a lot of force science when this drops.
the larger the fire will get.
It's quite complicated to have a control over that much energy, heat. It's a balance. I think that's the hardest thing to get, having the balance, having the fire texture that works well with the particle behavior, with the heat, the sparks. You need to have the whole feeling of heat and danger, and it's when you get this spot where it really starts to make you look certainly afraid of it that, yeah, it starts gets good, I would say.
Each of the materials that we have marked up, they have their properties, and we can set a material to be combustible or not. Most surfaces will be combustible. A few exceptions, such as glass, will not be. But the ones that are, especially in ships, we decided to go for a more tech approach. So even if metal itself will not easily combust, we assume that behind that metal there will be pipes and cables that can catch fire based on the properties that each surface type has. For example, wood will burn different from rubber or plastic or metal. So the propagation between those will interact differently. Don't worry, like not everything will catch fire at the same time. We have these different properties that will cause different surfaces to catch fire at different times.
You have to think of the other things that can also catch fire. Things like your cargo, which you...
So, I mean, yeah, glass not catching fire, that's fine. It should just melt or break from the heat. In which case, that would let in or that would let out your atmosphere and vent and exterminate the fire. So I think they're trying to say that glass is like invincible right now. I still can't get it out of my head that so many people are going to be stranded because I didn't catch the fire at the beginning, and because some of the ships are so large and people fly them solo, there's going to be a lot of unhappy campers. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is very impressive technically. Exactly, Hobbit. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking you in your pilot seat, right? And the cargo hangar or the engineering bay, which is, by the way, very far away from you at that point. It catches fire. First of all, do you know? Is that Okay. I'm hoping what they're going to answer for us next is how the engineering system comes into play with this, and what kind of warning systems are there for you to know that your craft's on fire, because that is
You
problematic.
probably don't want to catch fire because if it burns out, you will lose it. Other things might be loose ship items that you have laying around just in case you want to repair your ship.
The player
It
itself
should.
will not be able to catch fire, but the player will feel the influences of fire in their environment. So if you step into the fire, then you will take damage. If you are near to the fire, you will feel the heat. So your actor status will start showing up with like higher temperatures. If the fire is not managed properly, for example, your life support can't feed in enough oxygen, then oxygen will be drained and your player will start to asphyxiate.
Why can't
Okay, so besides in caffeine, you make a great point. So besides the, damage indicators, which are a pretty clear signal that something's wrong, the oh shit meter need to exist, right? And exactly, they have to have a you're on fire, idiot. If it's, oh, well, you just got to go figure out you're on fire. What? So you mean I have to have someone in the ship constantly patrolling for fires? Why do ships like this catch fire so easily? That's what I'm worried about. If something says you're on fire, how long will it take me to find it? That's a good point. Well, so we've all seen the engineering screens, right? So I'm assuming that somewhere on that, there's got to be an indicator, like a flashing red light, a flame symbol, something saying danger, danger, Will Robinson. Fire in space, which, we can debate fire in space. But right now they're sticking with inside a ship, which is okay. There's atmosphere, there's oxygen inside the ship. Yes, no problem there.
I set people on fire?
Tech.
Will you commit here and now that someday we'll set people on fire?
I will commit to nothing.
I tried, everybody.
People will have different ways of setting fires to ships, hopefully other people's ships, not your own. It is important to know.
Okay, that seemed way too quick. Oh, he put 19 rounds into that thing and it just that's intense. That's a little too much. And maybe that was just for, like exposition purposes, and that's not what we're really going to get in game, but we'll see.
For 4.0 that we will not have fire outside of ships. So if you set fire to an item inside one ship, you can bring it to another ship, given that the medium that you're traveling through has enough oxygen to sustain the fire. You can set fire by damaging items in the ship, so shooting them when an item dies that has a chance to set fire. Other ways to set fire are bringing in ignited items and
Cocktail picotovs, Molotov picos. How can we phrase this? Pico fire shot? No. That mean picotovs. We christened picotovs, everyone. That is now going to be an in-game weapon. Yeah. Plushies are now going to be an instrument of terror. But no one saw that coming. No one. Your engineering room in the 890, I think you just go to one of the elevators to tell you. I don't know. Yeah, that one. That one, caffeine, on the side room with like a hallway and then the big cylinder tubey thingy. There you go. But I'm going to throw a Picotov now at you through your cargo bay, and 10 minutes later you'll be in Quantum going, why is it so hot in here? It smells a little funky. And why am I sweating so much in my spacesuit? And you'll turn around and, well, everything will be on fire and you're screwed. And all because of a burning Picotov. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
placing them in someone else's ship. One of the biggest challenges that we recently had with fire was the networking, and Francesco has done a really, really amazing job with getting that ready.
The presence or absence of fire is a very, very important thing to convey to players. You don't want a player stepping into a thing that doesn't look like it's burning or avoiding a thing that looks like it's burning. Synchronizing fire was a very important part of making sure that the feature functioned correctly. And we have a lot of data that fire generates, and a lot of data doesn't work well over networks. There was a lot of work being put into relying as much as possible on the fact that our fire system is stable, it's deterministic, it will always do the same thing given the same initial parameters. There were a lot of cases. There were cases of players joining in late. They obviously don't get where the fire.
So yeah, it's a good point, Shakma. The servers were already on fire. Now this is just giving us a visual representation of what's going on. The servers are going to burn in the build and in real life.
Fire was 3 hours ago. They just say now. They need to know what it is now. There's players who have really bad internet connectivity or servers struggling a lot, situations that bring a halt to the continuous progress of fire from one end or the other, and we need to reconcile that. So we needed a way to know when fire was no longer suitably similar between what the player was seeing and what the server thought was there, and refresh it at that point, and minimize how much data we needed to refresh it at that point. We are pretty happy with the way it works now. We have it so that it sends as little data as possible to sort of create these summarized states for the client and server. And only when these differ enough do we actually send that relatively big, still compressed, but relatively big snapshot to synchronize everything back together.
A fire that is left unchecked will spread throughout your ship. And if it does this and it reaches your ship components,
System is offline.
then you'll be having a very bad day. And this could lead to your ship being both crippled or destroyed. So this
Okay, we all know that the chances of surviving that kind of a crash are like 0. You would die. You would die.
means you will be able to put out fires using a fire extinguisher. Where possible, we have made sure that fire extinguishers are readily available throughout our ships.
The extinguishers, they're very simple to use. They are point and shoot. You have to be careful that you don't start flailing wildly with your extinguisher. If you have to aim at the base of your fire and then keep it there to cool down the surface and take away enough of the heat and the oxygen so that the fire calms down. There will be a temperature readout where you can see how strong the fire is still where you're aiming.
And you need to keep your finger on the trigger until it actually goes out. Fires can just be smoking there, and technically it's very close to being on fire. So you really do want to make sure it's really out before.
So seeing this suit makes me think, so when are we going to see our first space fire suit? Fireman suit, fire person suit, space firefighting suit. There you go. When are we going to see our first space firefighting suit? Jesus Christ. Can you kill people? Oh. Can you knock someone out with a fire extinguisher? Like, can you use it as a weapon? That would be awesome. That would actually be really cool.
Before you move on. Because if you just leave them smoking and then go wandering off, there's a good chance it will heat up again and catch fire again. It's worth knowing that a fire extinguisher has a limited amount of ammo within it. To your benefit, you can also take your fire extinguishers back to where they are stored, plug them in, and then they will recharge their ammo.
That's
However,
cool.
it is important to know that if your ship doesn't have a functioning life support at this moment, the recharge will not work.
If you leave the fire completely untended, then your ship can completely burn out, so it will look completely black. If the life support can keep up providing enough oxygen, then...
Okay, but they haven't answered the most important question. Can we just open up a door, open up all the doors to vent atmosphere and kill the fire? Because if you're wearing a spacesuit and you're in your ship, and let's say you're solo, the quickest and easiest way to save yourself is going to be venting ammo in your ship. in all compartments so that there's no more fire. It would not kill the heat, true, but if you get rid of the fire, then the heat would start dying down, and the cold from outer space starts coming in, or at least sucking out the heat. I don't know. Curious.
It will just keep going until all of the fuel, that is the surfaces, has been burnt out. Or if the life support is not running, then your fire will start to diminish. But if you don't do anything, the life support will keep feeding in oxygen enough for the fire to be sustained and start spreading everywhere.
You don't want people to put fires out?
No, I want them to die in a fire.
See, this just confirms that CIG hates us. It truly does. They want to see us. They're designing hell. There you go. This game is going to become hell, and it's different levels. This is proof.
The views and opinions of Leo do not represent those of Cloud Imperium Games, Private Space Industries, or its subsidiaries.
Bullshit.
There are more ways to extinguish fire. With the life support and resource network, you can cut power to your life support for a room, and that means that there will be no more oxygen provided, which means that the fire itself will start using up all the oxygen, and it will extinguish slowly by itself. Another way is to open up your doors to open space, and that will mean that all of the atmosphere is being sucked out into open space, and again, no more oxygen for your fire to continue. After a fire, you can repair your items or replace them. Fire can damage your interior of your spaceship. We have some very beautiful burn decals that Francesco and Guillaume have been working on to show you where your ship has been burnt. The visual damage to the surfaces is not something you can repair manually, but you can go to a repair station and repair your ship there, and that will get rid of all of the visual burn.
But if I want to leave it burned because it looks cool, I can do that?
You can do that. It persists. I'm very happy with the current progress. It's been a very...
Money says half the fire extinguishers inside spaceships won't work, and you just see players throwing the fire extinguishers into the fire. No, I think most players who are solo are not going to mess around with trying to go put it out. They'll just vent. And that makes a lot of sense. And it's actually incredibly cool that you can do that. I think it is, at least. I would not take that back. I mean, I think if they don't work, yeah, you'll end up just, flying when your door's open, essentially.
Very long road for the team to get to this point. It's amazing to finally be able to roll this out to the players.
It's amazing to work with. It's just so fun, and the results are very good and very quick. So
I'm looking forward to see what people will do with it, like what kind of weird edge cases they'll find, and we'll probably have to fix up. But it's as long as the servers don't die because of fire, and I think we will be able to deal with it.
So here's the real question. Will we be able to fight fire with fire? So like if you start a fire with a grenade, if you throw another grenade, does it cancel itself out? If a ship catches fire in space, does it make a sound? Okay. It's going to be funny when this does come out.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned where and how fire will make its first appearances in the persistent universe, in your spaceships. How it'll spread and the dangers of leaving it unchecked. Your spaceships will burn and maybe go boom. And both how you'll put them out or potentially spread the fire to other vehicles. And I'm banking y'all might find some ways that we missed. Now don't forget...
Totally banking on that. See, if I was going to make a bet, I would bet on the fact that we are going to find new ways that they had not envisioned we would set things on fire with. We said go boom. So there's a very high chance that people are just going to be blowing up left and right randomly flying around planets or quantuming from one place to the other, I expect there to be a lot of quantum deaths or a lot more stranded in the middle of nowhere people because they fell out of quantum because their quantum drive caught fire. Something like that. That's what I expect.
The ship showdown is still underway. It's your chance to vote on which vehicles you like best, as well as send John Crew messages on social media that he legally has to respond to during this time.
Hi all, David here. The only thing I have to say about this is no. Just no. Our program will now conclude.
For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week. It's time to go Pyro Planet side. How do you start a fire? First, you contact the ATC.
Yeah, I could start with that. That would be good. I could say that. You want me to do that? Well, first of all, you start. Yeah, you call the ATC and they set fire to your ship.
They brought back funnies. I'm so happy. All right, that whole episode was worth it, just because of the funnies. Also, I bet we call ATC to take off instead of the hangar door opening, our ship catches fire. Yeah, that. It's not a joke. It's like, so, okay, so we all know we have that little item that gets stuck in the ship, right? If you're spawning a Carrack, if you're spawning a Corsair, if you're spawning, there's multiple ships that have an object that like tether you, right? As you're trying to take off from your hangar. And you know how it creates sparks? Boom, right there. There's your fire. Every time you exit the hangar, people are going to just be balls of flame as they fly out of atmosphere. It's going to be great. This could be a spicy one, you know? It could be a could be difficult. The Drake ships are just gonna like, you know, like cardboard boxes just go right up in flames. Just goodbye. No longer. Just be gone. Just finished this ISC. I am so like here's my take on this, right? Is I find these features interesting for a tech demo. I don't see how they are truly going to tie in everything for a coherent game. And I don't see that being content. I think that can create content, but I don't it's a individual thing. It's fire, yeah. It's fire. Drake for life, exactly, caffeine. But yeah, I don't know. It's really cool if we get it and it works. It sounds cool. Now, what it did sound kind of cool, and they didn't really touch on that, and I feel like it's because most of us would pass out if we had to listen to that conversation. But it sounds like they found an interesting way to, through tech, minimalize the amount of information that needs to be sent back and forth between the server and client. I think that was probably one of the most important things we heard in this video is them finding ways to minimize the amount of data having to be sent back and forth and transitioning through the replication layer. And what I hear when they say something like that is more stability, less lag, less desync, no delay. So hopefully that's also the direction we're heading in. And I thought that was interesting and we needed to mention it. But anyways, thank you everybody for joining me for this react. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you stuck around and listened this long and you didn't, well, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. But if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribe.